Good evening, YouTube. It's good to see you again. Slow Life Pipes here. Smoking out in my slowly coming together smoking corner of my... Here's what happens when you move and you have too much stuff. You didn't realize you had too much stuff. Is you get a garage that still looks like this because you haven't organized through it yet. Yeah. But priorities. I've been making this corner into a little smoking spot. Little fireplace. Some stereo. My desk, which is not back in order either. Smoking a Carl Eric Extravagant, one of the handmade ones. It's become one of my most reached for pipes. I smoke it a lot. I love the brass ferrules, and they kind of age and patina, you know. The shape is just good. It smokes awesome. I'm enjoying some Puget Sound from Seattle Pipe Club. I bought it at the November slow smoke contest and the monthly meeting there. It is a Virginia Oriental Latakia and Perique. For all those bold ingredients, it's really smooth and pretty mellow. It's nice. And drinking a little Fort George Vortex IPA. It's one of my favorite, like, can get it at any grocery store beers. Really good. I thought one thing I'd do this evening is give you a quick tour of my developing new pipe and tobacco my cellar project. I used to keep all my tobacco and pipes in this little cabinet right here. If you've seen some of my other videos where I tore my little workstation, it was on top of this desk in a bedroom. So all my pipes were in here and all my tobaccos were in there, except my unopened stuff was just kind of in a box or a drawer because I didn't have room for it. And I recently acquired this about, I don't know, 7.5 foot cabinet from a kitchen I was remodeling. Tore it out from an old house. It's just laminate. It's just a really well built cabinet, and it's got some cool features. These little shelves in here. These will fit like quart-sized mason jars. And so I haven't really put the top into much use yet, but soon. But working on some pipe storage. It's hard to see them in here. The next thing is I'm putting an under cabinet light that's going to go right up here to illuminate this space. It used to be a microwave cubby in a kitchen. And the ones we're remodeling, we're putting a microwave range hood in, so it doesn't need this kind of spot anymore. But I like it. It's got this pull-out cutting board, so you can bring your pipe out, set it down, put your tobacco out, load it up, and then kind of tuck it all away. And then down here is where the goods are. So they got these 3 shelves, and they're pull-out shelves like a big drawer. So this cabinet is deep and dark, and the wood is thick. It's actually 2 layers over here, so it's gonna stay really well insulated and just keep it cool and dark, which is what I find best for keeping tobacco from drying out. You can see I have most of this stuff in, these are open tins, and I keep them in these, and it never dries out as long as and it's been there for months, some of them, you know, and keep it dark and keep it cool, and it does just fine. So I'm still missing a box in my garage somewhere that I have to find that's full of more open stuff that I smoke regularly, and it's buried out here. So of the couple boxes I found, I've got what I've trickled in of my English blends on the top, my Virginia base blends down here, couple aromatics in the corner, and then down here is all my unopened stuff. You get a little viewing of that. Most of all of this, with a couple exceptions, is 10 years old or more, 10 to 14 years old. Not these two, but all of this stuff is 10 to 14 years old. And these over here, I acquired them in a large lot from a local guy. So tonight, this is the big snifter. I love this glass because it's like a 24 or 28 ounce snifter, but it's deceptive. It doesn't look as big as it is, but it's massive. And if you buy like a 22 ounce, like pounder bottle, it can fit the whole thing in one pour. It's awesome. I got it for $1 at a thrift store. Today, friends, happens to be my birthday. Turned 34 years old today. On the 14th. Sometimes I don't know where the time goes, but it moves faster than you think. You take time to stop and reflect on your life thus far. Think about memories of the early parts of my marriage, the first couple years of my marriage, and the first years with my children, and it never feels like that long ago. But some of those things are 10-year-old memories. My oldest son is 10. It's strange to think how easily you remember things that are so far away. So I've recently moved out of the city of Portland. And I moved about an hour and a half south with my family to a smaller city south of Salem called Albany. And so I now reside in Albany, Oregon. And after the past few years, I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but very in-depth in my Disney World video. So if you want that background, you can go watch that one, I guess. It's long and dark because it's at nighttime in Florida. But my family suffered a big wound a few years ago, and with our oldest son, and slowly came to us that we really wanted to reorient some parts of our life around our family, and some of that meant getting to a geographical place where we could slow down and have more time, and partly by wasting less time on things like traffic and just cities move really fast, but doing stuff in them takes really long. So you live in a city, a large city, and everything's going all the time. It's busy always, but it takes you longer to do everything. It's not faster. So you're busier, but you're busier, and you're moving more quickly, but you're getting less done. And there are other reasons, but that's one of them. We love the city, but we wanted to. We changed some goals and want to slow down our family's pace a bit, and get ourselves to a place where we can spend more time together and more times doing things that grow our family together, and rather than just kind of surviving and sustaining it, which is kind of the mode we've been in for the last few years, is just trying to survive. One of my goals with that has been, we have some goals to try to become a little more self-sufficient in various ways, agriculturally and financially. So one of the things that I'm working on tonight has to do with that, which is I am working this year to become a more proficient harvester of wild game meat. I really want to get myself adapted and adept at becoming a hunter, which is not something I've ever done in my adult life. I just started a few years ago, and I've made it out just for 2 seasons in about 6 years. Because right after I started, the first year I became a full-time student, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was too busy being a student. And so, but it's really something I desire to do. I want to be able to know that I can. There's something about knowing that whatever your circumstances, you have a skill set that can feed your family. and it's not necessarily like weird doomsday prepper stuff, although that certainly plays into it, but I know this is not the way you're supposed to talk about things in our modern culture, but it's something to me about being a man and a husband and a father. That is a goal of mine, to know that I am not utterly dependent on this world and its ways and systems, particularly its monetary systems, and work and trade systems to put food on my table. So it's really something I would like to get better at. So this year I am ramping up my efforts to hunt and to fish. Hunt big and small game. And to fish. I live in the Pacific Northwest, where there are a fantastic system of rivers, coastal and inland rivers, that are fish-bearing streams for salmon, steelhead, trout, and all kinds of other good edible fish. And so tonight, I haven't been fishing in a few years now. I used to fish a lot when I was young. I was out several times a week fishing for a long time. In my teenage years and my early 20s, I fished a lot. And that's one thing I have been doing since I was a kid. I've been fishing since I was little. My dad taught us to fish when we were very small. Just fishing for trout most of my life, and moved on when I was a teenager to fishing salmon and steelhead that we have up here. And I love fishing. I've run out of time to do it, and there's a YouTube family that I watch that are homesteaders, called the Homesteady. They have a podcast as well called Homesteady, and they Ost, the father of that family, he said a couple times in his show, in his YouTube episodes, he makes judgments on his time this way, where he has said, if you're too busy to fish, you're too busy and you need to change something. And while I wouldn't make that a hard and fast rule, I thought that sounds like the kind of life and the pace of life that I would like my family to have, that if I'm too busy to go fishing, I'm too busy. And right now, I'm talking too much to keep my pipe lit. So tonight, cleaning up my fishing reels because they were dirty and full of sand. This is a little bit of my gear. This is my salmon and steelhead reel. I used to have a separate salmon reel that was like a bait caster style, and I just found I didn't use it that much. It was fine, and I had a lot of troubles with... I just found it less reliable and more prone to bird nesting and tangling than a good spinner reel. So I love this one. I bought it a number of years ago when this model, was at its peak, really. It's a Shimano Sahara 4000. It's a good reel. I like it a lot, and it works good. Holds 250-ish yards of, you know, if you're using an 8 or 10 pound, 200 yards of a 10 pound test. I'm trying out something really interesting this time, which I just started using this braided line. It's hard to see. So, for a comparison, this is my trout, the spool off my trout fishing reel. And this is 6 pound monofilament, 6 pound test line. This, on my steelhead reel, is the same diameter, this braided line, same diameter as this monofilament line. This is 20 pound test. 6 pound, 20 pound, same diameter of line. Which is pretty great. Which means you can get a higher tensile strength of line and fit a lot more of it on your reel than you used to be able to. So I'm really looking forward to getting out on the water with this. But these are just kind of full of sand. This is my trout reel. It's a 2000, so it's just a smaller version of the other one. And I'm cleaning up the gears and the spools inside. They're got some sand and dirt and stuff in them, dust over the years. So kind of swab them out and then grease them and get them smooth again. And I'll show you it's my favorite fishing rod. It's the first piece of fishing equipment I had to save up to buy because I didn't get it at a yard sale or just have it from my dad's garage. When I first got a job that paid me more than minimum wage, I saved up, and this was one of the first things I bought. Was this G Loomis GL2 light action 9-foot fast action, light medium to fast action rod. I love this fishing rod. It's great, and I've had it for probably 15. Let's see. Yeah, it's got to be about 15 years old now. And the last 5-6 years has just been sitting in a storage locker, and it's ready to go. It hasn't decayed or anything. And they make a really great reel or rod. I enjoy it a lot. I'm really looking forward to seeing that thing fold over with a fish on it again. Let me give you a little tip. You're buying matches for use at home. Don't buy the big box of strike-on box matches. Okay? Now, Diamond doesn't really make great matches to begin with, especially these green light ones. But when you buy the huge box of the ones you have to strike on the box, here's what happens. Before you get to the end of the box, your strike strips are spent. They are gassed out and they have nothing left to strike your matches on that don't have phosphorus heads to strike them on concrete or whatever you want. If you're gonna get a big box, get the strike anywhere matches. Better yet, just buy the like brick of the little boxes. They're way better, even though the matches are a little shorter. This is just an annoyance. And I'm committed to use up the rest of this box because I don't want to just throw them away, but it's super annoying. Save yourself some trouble. Get the small boxes or get the strike anywheres. Well, I'd be curious if any of you would comment here. If you have any goals like the ones I stated tonight, you know, these are things that have been personal convictions of mine that I would like to do. There's a strong propensity I think in men with families especially, and men without, frankly, but to fill our lives with hobbies and projects. Pipes are a good example, right? Pastimes and hobbies and projects. And one of the things I wonder is, I think it's wrong to conclude that hobbies and pastimes are inherently bad, because the argument is made that way. You know, they do take time, right? That you could be doing something like, you know, you could be spending it with your family or working to make more income for them, or, you know, if your goals are your family and your care of them and your provision for them, we often stop to ask if we're being responsible with that as parents. And yet, there is just something built into us to do projects, to create and to make stuff and to learn and gain proficiency, even expertise at things that are not necessary for living. But it seems like that element of creating and project making and hobby pursuing seems to be necessary or just natural to living. So I find myself wondering, if I can't conclude as a husband and father that hobbies are just wrong because they take time away from direct time spent with my family, then the question becomes, what kind of hobbies ought one to have in order to be responsible with your time? What kinds of things ought a person pursue in order to not be selfish and wasteful? To be a steward of the time and resources that you have. And it strikes me that there are some hobbies, some pursuits, some pastimes that are and can be identified as just inherently selfish and wasteful, or just strictly for personal leisure. And I wonder, ought I be trying to pursue hobbies and skills and pastimes that benefit me and benefit my family together? And for instance, don't take offense if you do any of these things, okay? This is just my rambling, philosophizing about hobbies and stewarding our time. I could take up golf. Again, if you're a golfer, go golf. It's great. I could take up golf. But really, at the end of the day, I'm going to ask, what purpose is served by becoming a regular golfer and being, and caring enough about golf to, learn it, understand the game, play it often enough to get good at it, keep up with the equipment needs, and make time to go be out on the green. What purpose is served there? And there might be, you could make some good arguments for things that are, but I think I already meet those in some other places. So if it's rest and relaxation, although I'm not sure that works for every golfer, I would say that's one of the reasons that I do this. That's one of the reasons I smoke a pipe. It's restful, it's relaxing, it's mindful, it's soothing and calming, and so it's beneficial to myself, to my, not in just a leisure time, go have fun with something way. So does it serve any other purpose? And do I need more things that only serve that purpose of rest or relaxation or pleasure? And I guess that I'm not sure that I do. But if I take fishing, what purposes are served by that? If I take hunting, what purposes are served by that? And they have more utility, and I think that's just fairly obvious. So it strikes me that I could take up a hobby like hunting and fishing and spend the time to become proficient at it and become good at it, to where I know that I can go out and find animals and harvest them and bring them home to eat. And my family benefits from that as well. Not just the meat that you bring home from hunting and fishing, but the skill set that you earn and build from becoming a hunter and a fisher and general outdoorsman. Becoming an adequate finder and taker of game, becoming an adequate wayfinder in the woods, right? I live in a heavily wooded part of the country. It's thick timber and trees, brush. You will get lost in a hurry if you step off of a trail in the Pacific Northwest without knowing how to find your way somewhere. Those are skill sets that in certain kinds of scenarios would benefit myself and my safety and the safety of my family. So, I wonder, for you, if you care about engaging with this post in the comments, what do you think about that? I don't really care what you think about killing animals. I don't really care about having that argument. You can comment that about, try a vegan lifestyle. I'm just probably going to ignore it politely. But what I'm asking, because that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is a question not about the ethics of killing and eating animals. It's a question about stewarding your time. While also doing things you enjoy, and building on crafts and hobbies and pastimes that take time to perfect them and become good at them. And pipe smoking is a great example. I've made a ton of videos just talking about pipe smoking and how hard it is to become good at it, and it's kind of a lifetime practice, and you just keep doing it and keep learning, and you do, and you spend time to do it, and you spend money to do it. These things are not cheap to buy good pipes, and the more you become, the longer you're a pipe smoker, the more you care about buying good pipes. And you know, so you ever put any thought into how you spend your time, your leisure time, your hobby time, your shop time? What do you think about that? Open-endedly, I guess. Except, like I said, I don't care about arguing about eating meat. That's my thoughts for tonight. I wanted to show you my ugly garage. That was just necessary because I'm in here. But I wanted to show you my new tobacco cellar project. That's still coming along. I gotta organize it a little more and put some lighting in, and talk about hobbies and hunting and fishing. So with that, I will leave you all because I need to finish this pipe and finish these reels. So I bid you good night. Until next time, grace, peace, and pipes, friends.